Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I would like to share with you my final thoughts and feelings going into the Olympia. During this video, I got pretty emotional, which is kind of embarrassing, but also I think it's just important for you guys to, see where I'm coming from and my thought process and why I feel the way I feel. So make sure you stay tuned and I will see you at the end of the video.
First off, let's go into the most important question that everyone kind of struggles with, right, in peak week. Even someone at the top level, Ashley, where is your energy levels at?
Oh my gosh. It's finally taken its toll on me. I was so almost cocky about how energized I was this whole year through every prep I've done, every show. I was like, yeah, I can keep going and I got so much energy, yeah. And this prep, this last week, it definitely started to hit me.
Yeah.
I feel like a zombie right now, kind of. I mean, in the morning time, I will be very energized in the morning, and I'll be like, yeah, let's do this workout. And then after like 10 or so, I'm like, oh my gosh, zombie. So, I mean, I'll be honest, I think some of it has to do with my sleep too. When I get close to show, my sleeping patterns, they're a little weird. I've been waking up at 3 lately, which is very early. The thing is, I'll wake up, if I have to pee, I'll just wake up, and unfortunately most of the time I can't go back to sleep. I have to go pee. But also those nightmares that I tell you guys about, I get those nightmares, especially close to show. I'll have those nightmares that's like right about to step on stage and oops, forgot my tan. Oops, I forgot to train completely. Or what's the other one? Oh yeah. Oops, I just ate a whole entire cake to myself the night before. Something stupid like that. Or I forgot my heels, or the list goes on. It's something different all the time. But I think it's like those nerves that are kicking in, and the closer I get to a show, the more often I'll have those nightmares, and they wake me up sometimes. So I'm definitely not my strongest right now, but I'm hanging in, and I'm consistent, so that's good. And it's good that you're here, because I worked out with Adam today, and I was like, man, Adam, if you weren't here watching me, I probably would have just left, went home, and been like, oh, just do tomorrow. So yeah, it's really like that, guys, even for me too sometimes. And most of my preps aren't like this, and it's just like 1 week though, so you know what I mean? It's no big deal. It's just, I was really lucky. I had a lot of energy. I don't know why, for some reason, this prep, it's just like, maybe it has something to do with it gets dark earlier. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I just think, I honestly just think we've been really lucky.
We've been pushing it too, though, yeah.
This year we've done a few shows, and I think that also the other thing too is that the time in between shows has not been like, it hasn't been like show after show. It's been like kind of spread, because we were getting ready for a show, and then it got canceled, and we're getting ready for a show. So we've kind of been in prep like most of the year. And this
we definitely went ham this year, though.
Yeah, we did. It was. What's crazy is the beginning of the year, Ashley wanted to do a lot more shows than she did. Mm-hmm. So next year, if we get shows.
Yeah, which there is going to be a big gap between this Olympia and the next one, or the next show. Yeah. So that's going to be tricky too. It's at least 3 months. So we don't know, maybe longer. I don't know. But that's like one of the other reasons why I'm so nervous for the Olympias, because I have like after Olympia, it's like, the thing is, if I compete at a show, right, and I see something that's a stupid mistake or something I need to fix, it's stuck in my head like, oh no, I need to redo the show, reclaim myself. I need to fix this and fix that, even if it's something really minuscule. I'm like that, I am. Even if I win the show and I see something I can improve on, I'm like, oh no, I want to do this next show and make that adjustment and see how much better I'll be. It's like I don't get that chance after Olympia because there's such a big gap, so that makes it like extra pressure. So you know what? I'll be honest, Adam, I'm probably more nervous for this show more than I've ever been at any show ever. I don't know. I try not to focus so heavily on a placement, but I mean, of course I want to do well. Of course I want to place high. Duh, I want to. Of course I do, but I also have to have that very realistic expectation that, like, you know what, Ashley, even if you give your best physique, that might not necessarily be what they want. Here's a great example. The physique that we brought, that I thought was the best, wasn't rewarded as the best.
Yeah.
And that's the only show that they told me, you're too lean, and this is something you could fix.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you what you think is best for you. Maybe it's not to the judges, because the criteria, although it is generally the same, the people you're competing against, talent pool is getting deeper and deeper every single year. That is one thing that I've really tried to improve on is the presentation. That was one of the critiques that can make it a little sassier. Not that it was a bad presentation, but it was a little plain Jane. The thing is, like, my personality is I'm more of like a cutesy athletic type. I always say that, like, you know what I mean? To be sexy for me is really hard because I don't see myself that way, and that's not my personality. You know what I mean? I'm way more like goofy, and if you guys know me, I'm like goofy. I'm like, just having a good time. But to be more like sultry, sexy, slowing it down instead of that athletic bounce on stage is definitely difficult, and it's something that I'm constantly working on. And if we're talking about advantages and disadvantages of every girl, I think as of right now, we're working on it. Hopefully it's a lot better, but that would be one of my disadvantages. Coming onto stage is my presentation. It needs to be a little more sassy, a little more flamboyant and sexy. But we have advantages too.
Yeah.
I think my profile or side profile front pose is what you would call it, right? The standard is really good.
I honestly wish that they would judge the glutes from the front because you would destroy that every time.
Well, thank you.
Everyone knows that.
I mean, so that's one of my advantages.
Yeah.
I really love my front pose. I think that's probably my best pose.
Yeah.
Is because I got great like a bubbly booty and hamstrings.
That's where people always like think that you have fake glutes.
Oh yeah.
Where people are like, oh, you got fake glutes.
That's
We're like,
funny.
Thanks for the compliment, I guess.
Yeah, it's like one of those insults, but it's compliment in disguise because it's like, well, it's not fake, but if you think that it looks that unrealistic, that it is, thank you, I guess. Adam, something I've really been thinking about. Remember that podcast that we did probably like a few months ago? And I remember you saying, in order to succeed, you gotta think you are the shit, right? See, here's my mental conflict. I don't think that way. I swear, I never did. Even when I was winning every single Olympia, I never thought that way. We have different ways of thinking, I guess. Or maybe it's just I've been scolded by Bikini. I'm not sure. But you are kind of more like, oh yeah, I know I'm the best, so I'm gonna compete or do whatever you do, coach or whatever, and you are the best. See, I'm different. I'm like, I don't know, I kind of set my expectations lower, something I know I can achieve, or something very realistic I can achieve if I work hard. And then if I exceed it, it's like icing on the cake, extra credit. Yeah. So that's something, like I literally, for the past 2 weeks, was thinking about that podcast in particular, how different we think. And I'm like, should I be thinking like you think? Because I don't think that way, and I never did.
Here's the thing. There's a difference. So if you look at like the guys who do that, like the Michael Jordans, the Wayne Gretzky's, with like a Wayne Gretzky, it's like a quiet confidence that he knows where he's at. The Sidney Crosby, he's like that too. But there's some guys that are, but they know and they have that confidence. And the difference of believing in yourself that much, and I think that this is a potential growth area for you. I think that the difference of believing in yourself that much that you can do it and that you're deserving of it, and that there's a difference of competing to win because you're the shit and you're like, hey, this is my stage. I'm the champion 3 times. Like, this is where I belong. This is mine. Versus the mindset of, I just want to do good enough where I'm not slipping, or I'm just competing to not lose. Yeah. And there's a significant difference of that, and it's going to portray on stage. And I think, it comes off, not necessarily just when you're on stage, but when someone's on stage competing to not lose versus competing with the confidence to be like, hey, this is mine. Yeah. There's a difference in that confidence in the posing and how your judges are looking at you, the energy that's given off. And like, I feel like that is another little area where you can be a little bit more. I mean, you do have to be realistic. You're the most, and you're still like, it's nice that you're modest. It's cool, but that's, there's a time for that. But you gotta say to yourself that sometimes too. You are the most winning bikini pro in the history of the sport, and you have that crown.
I think
you're the most winning Miss Olympia of all time. You have that crown. I think you might have the Arnold, or tied with the Arnold too.
I don't know.
I think you're
Arnold's
tied.
tricky. Yeah.
Angelica has 2.
Probably. Oh yeah, she has 2. She went. Yeah.
Maybe if she
at
has
least
3,
2.
if she has 3, sorry. But you're at least the Olympia. We know for sure you're the most winning Olympian of all time of winning the Olympia. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that is your stage, and that's nothing wrong with saying that.
I think, remember how I mentioned that one of my worst fears or feelings is disappointment. I never want to disappoint anybody, including myself.
Yeah.
And I think that is why I always set my expectations realistic.
Yeah.
Is I just don't want to disappoint myself. And of course I don't want to disappoint anybody else. But even like being honest with myself. And when I did win my first Olympia, the thing is, I had that same mindset. It was even more towards like not confident, I would say even. When I won my first Olympia, I was literally just grateful to be there. And just to, you know what I mean? So I was a big, literally, like ask anybody that was close to me. Just to be there was like the biggest deal ever. And it was like, my goal is already made. Already did it. Wow. This is it. And then I exceeded that big time. And that feeling of exceeding the goal by winning, not even just being there, but winning, that is like a feeling that you can't compare that to anything, to exceed your expectations and everybody else's. So I think half of me doesn't want to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And the other half wants to feel that extra credit or icing on the cake, like even better than expecting to do well. And bikini is like one of those things, it's like you just can't control to some point. We're in a sport where you can't play defense. Yeah. You can only give your best. You can't control how anybody else shows up. You can't control how it's going to be judged. So you can just do what you personally can.
Yeah.
And I'm just almost too realistic. Realistic to a fault.
Yeah, maybe. It might be going to that point. So.
Knowing that I won the Olympia as a rookie and no one knew who I was, my mindset is all these 44 girls has an equal chance. Maybe some a little bit more than others that's been around. But I just think like anybody could take it. Like anybody. It could go any way. There could be another Ashley Kay. Like no one knows who she is. No one was expecting her to even place. And she wins. So
yeah, it could be.
That's
very realistic.
That's like my mental struggle that I have.
I don't mind you having that. I don't mind you having that at all. I just don't ever want it to get in the way of your confidence of you should be, of your confidence on stage. And I think there's like that little safety net that we all have for ourselves that gives us that room, And I think with today and how the confidence is on stage and how the girls are posing differently and taking their time and just really being like they're like, I'm here to win,
Right.
And I think that's the attitude that we need going into this year. I do.
I mean, I don't ever want to get twisted. Like I'm a pessimist. I don't think I'm gonna, do well. That's not it. It's more like just like a safety net. Like
it's a little bit of a safety net, yeah. But
just in case I don't do well, or But I will say, regardless of placing, if I do something stupid, that's like my worst fear.
Yeah.
Something stupid, something really dumb, like something that I just don't want to look back on the show and be like, oh man, if I would have just, sucked in a little bit more on my front pose or something, could have done a lot better. And it's worse when you hear a judge say it afterwards. I remember at the 2018 Olympia, they told me I bent over too far or I would have moved up several places.
Yeah.
And what could that be? Just them being nice? Or just the honest to God truth? I don't know, but that stuck with me and I'm like, oh my God, that's the worst feeling is like, I could have done better if I just would have fixed this stupid thing. Such an easy fix. Oh my God, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think
that's a fear. But I actually think for this prep, they're not popping too much.
No,
so
my
abs are very cooperative this prep, which is good. But yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I definitely, that's just an ongoing thing I have. It's just like, I think I look good. I think I'm awesome. I love myself. I really do. I love myself. But I mean, so does every other girl. Like I think every other girl looks awesome too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's just there's like a studied power of belief, you know, and I think that. I think everyone who's going out there to try to accomplish great things, and a lot of these people, everyone who's listening to this podcast, they have two things. They want to improve on themselves or improve in their physique to compete, right? That's kind of what it is. There's and so everyone here is kind of like that, wanting to do better, wanting to be the best type of attitude, which is like the people I surround myself with. And I think that there's this, it's like a studied power of belief. Like whichever direction you believe more of is going to happen more, So And I think that is it's critical that we believe that at all times, that you are that, you know, because you're gonna when you envision it more, it's gonna be more realistic.
Oh yeah, what is it called?
There's
what's it called? Law of attraction or something?
Law of attraction. There's I think it's called there's Padio's theory. I think it's I'm saying it wrong. It's someone's theory, but basically it's the same. It's basically like it's a theory and a concept of why you'll see very few stars that have most of the mass, while you'll see very few trees that are the biggest in the jungle.
I see what you mean.
Very few athletes who score all the goals for a team.
I say this all the time. I actually just said it, but more in a joking manner. I always say, how did I even get here? Like, almost like, I'm still surprised that I made it this far. I'm just a girl from Akron, Ohio, you know? Yeah. And my life changed when I won Olympia. And what is that called? It's like, I don't want to say imposter syndrome, but it's something. I know what it is. I can't get on the name. It's almost like you feel like almost undeserving of everything of your success.
Yeah.
Almost like how did I get here kind of thing.
Yeah. Well,
not that I don't think I work hard, but I'm just like, why me out of everyone else? Why was I the chosen one at one point?
Yeah.
It's too crazy. I don't know.
It's compiled success. You're reaping the rewards of compiled efforts. That's all it is, you know? And like you'll see, and that happens with everything that we just talked about, right? Like why does, we talk about, why do very few stars have most of the mass? Why do very few people have most of the money in the world, right? I think it's 1% of the people control 98% of the money in the world. Right, so why is that? Well, it's efforts, and what happens with these efforts? So it's about, here's the thing, it's wins and losses. It's based on rewarded efforts in every single type of society. You got to understand, when you're putting in, you get a win, you get a small win, right? When you first start, let's just do it like a business. You first start a business, you're just trying to get a customer, right? And then you get a little bit, you get a win, one customer. Next thing you know, you got 2 customers. Next thing you know, you got 4. So you're getting all these little wins, and the next thing you know, the 4 turns into 8, the 8 turns into 16, right? But you don't step backward. You just never let yourself go backward. You never get comfortable. You never take your foot off the gas. You never get complacent. And if you do this with something that you love, like you've been doing, you're just compiling wins into great wins, into greatness, right? You're birthing greatness through efforts, right? So people, I think, need to hear that too, because it's cool to hear that you're modest and everything, and it's cool that you've done that. There is always going to be a luck factor involved too, but the more effort you put out, the more luck you earn, the more luck is going to be given to you. And you're just like, man, I'm so lucky. Well, no, you've been playing sports since you can remember. You've been athletic. You've never let yourself go. How many times have you had cheat meals in the last 3 years? 10, maybe, right? I mean, how many times have you gone past 12 pounds of your in-season weight? Never, since the last 3 years. 11 I think was the highest pounds.
I was 25 pounds in 2017. I was
17.
20,
Before you started again, you took a year off.
So technically it's 3 years, but yeah.
So 3 years you've been 100%. So yeah, you're probably not even peaked yet. 3 years in compiling greatness, right?
So just getting started.
I think people understand that. It's cool. Hearing something like someone like you who has succeeded and has gotten pretty much what everyone would want at their beginning stage of this, to learn that even you're still I can't believe this happened, right?
Yeah. I
believe it happened, I believe it because I know the daily effort you put in. Yeah. And I know that all it is daily efforts added together to win in the end.
And I will say one thing, I know this sounds super cheesy, but I'm gonna say it anyway. One thing I am confident about is I was born to do this in a way. Kind of plays into the how did I get here thing. Things aligned so crazy good for me that set me up that I'm just it's more than a coincidence now. There's that's what I was born to do. It's what I was meant to do. All the events that got me here in your kitchen in this elf hat. All of that, it's more than a coincidence. I was meant to do this, and this is what I love doing. And the fact that I'm able to do this after years, I'm just I know a lot of people can't. A lot of people don't have that mental endurance, I guess is what.
Stamina, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of mental endurance. It's you can prep for 16 weeks. You can probably work harder than me for 16 weeks. But can you do that every single time and every year?
And every day for years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not just like a type of person that I'm just like, yeah, okay. I did 2 shows and done, you know. I'm like keeping going. Like, it's not stopping. Although this week was a little rough. I promise you, after I get off stage, I'm already going to be like, yeah, let's do another show. But
I've already talked about it.
yeah, we literally did. So I do think that is like what I was meant to do, and it makes me happy. And I get like really good feeling. And it's almost like, I don't know if it's possible to be overly grateful, maybe to the point where I'm satisfied, if that makes sense. But after I won my first Olympia, I like promised myself, no matter what happens from here on out, I got to be happy and grateful for this opportunity and everything that the sport has given me, because very few people will ever experience winning the Olympia, especially as a rookie. So, you know, it's kind of like, I'm very grateful. And I continue to be grateful, like, for every little thing. And I never take it for granted. Every little opportunity or person I get to meet at an expo, oh my gosh, I'm getting teary-eyed almost, is like, I'm really grateful for.
Good. I like this out of you, actually. This is good. This is good. And I'm grateful that
Gonna remind me.
And I'm grateful that you're in my life and that we get to do this together too. It's been the best, you know, the best part of my career for sure.
It's just for me. Keep making it.
Yeah, this is good. This is good, actually.
I was great at the workout too.
She's slow carb, guys. So, but no, this is great. This has been, just so you know too, it's been like.
You only saw me cry one more time for this.
This has been an amazing journey to take with you to all the countries we've been to and all the things, and so. We have a lot of years left, and I'm really excited that we're going to be together now in the office after this too, and even make you a better package. But I just want you to like leave this episode like being more confident in a little bit, and like knowing, hey, you've earned this shit. You know, you have. You are the Michael Jordan of bikini. Like, modesty's done now. We got the Olympia to go. You know, like you are the Michael Jordan of bikini. No one can say that. You know, no one can say anything about it. They can't argue. You got more championships than anyone in IFBB wins and in Olympia wins. So like this is you know, we've brought an amazing package. I'm very happy and proud of you. You put in your effort. You've shown everyone. You've even shown like the pros in our team, hey, like to be there, you got it. You can't slip up. You got to be consistent, you know. And I think you're a great role model. You've been one of the. I think you've been an awesome champion too for the Olympia too. I think that's one thing that's been really cool too to watch. You've earned it. Actually, congrats. You know, nice job this whole year, to be honest. And I think maybe your last words to everyone before we leave this podcast. You have anything you want to say to them, the future competitors? And
you know, don't take this entire journey for granted. Like, you got to enjoy every single moment of the journey, and you never know where it'll take you. So just keep at it, keep consistent. You know, that's what happened to me. I never really thought this would be my career when I first started. And I just kept with it because I loved it. And it took me to amazing places. I got to meet so many cool people. Got to travel the world. Experience so many amazing opportunities. And like, I'm a girl from Akron, Ohio. I never thought I would even leave Ohio. And then traveling the world, competing and doing seminars and, you know, just having a lot of fun. And I just wouldn't have my life any other way. Yeah. And although some weeks are hard, like peak week, you know, it's all worth it. And I just want to say thanks for the support, everybody. You guys are so nice. And also, you know, who's attending the Olympia or streaming it. And if you're attending Olympia, make sure to check out the Meet the Athletes event. Okay, guys, with that, an emotional action, which I'm glad you get to see. I think it's peak weeking it. It's because just lots going into this, actually, and I think that you're having a moment of realization of where you're at. You're having a moment of realization of what you've accomplished, and you're giving yourself that allowance to do that. Thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. I also wanted to mention too, these clips were taken from the Bikini and the Brain Podcast, which is a podcast that I do every single week with Coach Adam. So if you would like to see the full version of this podcast and more episodes, I will put the link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys again for all of the support. I'll see ya at the Olympia.